Dana White has dropped some absolute bombs. He announced the main card of UFC 322. In the main event, we have Jack Della Maddalena taking on Islam Makhachev for the welterweight title. In the co-main event, we have a very similar story in Valentina Shevchenko taking on Zhang, who was going up a division. She vacated her title the other day, and now she's ready to fight for the flyweight strap. And in the featured fight of the night, we have Leon Rocky Edwards taking on Carlos Prates. We love CP. Hopefully, CP is able to brutally chin Leon Edwards. But if you guys want more content like this, make sure to subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're like 970 subscribers right now, and we're gonna do big stuff when we hit 1K. So just go ahead and subscribe. But without further ado, let's get into the first fight. We're gonna talk about the main event of UFC 322, Islam Makhachev versus JDM. And obviously, we knew this fight was gonna happen, guys. We knew this fight was gonna happen. Basically confirmed after UFC 315. We were just waiting for Dana White to announce it. We were waiting for when he would announce it, and it's finally here. It's finally here. It's good, man, because Islam Makhachev, I was really hoping this guy wasn't just gonna sit out for another year. He fought back in January against Moicano, literally did nothing in that fight, got Moicano out of there in like a minute, and we hadn't heard any fight news about him for a while. But JDM, man, he's looking forward to being an active champion coming off that win against Bully B, and I guess we can just get right into it. We can talk about how I see this fight going. I'll give you guys a little bit of early prediction. I've talked about this fight many times. I've said that JDM is simply not on Islam Makhachev's level, but I've been thinking about it, man. I've been thinking about that Dustin Poirier fight. I've been thinking about the Islam Poirier fight at UFC 302, and it has me thinking maybe Islam is just maybe boxing is just a hard matchup for Islam. And I'm gonna go back, I gotta rewatch the UFC 302 fight, but Islam just did not look good against Dustin Poirier, and that's an old Poirier. That is a 38-year-old Poirier. And Jack Della Maddalena is in his prime. He's one of the slickest, quickest boxers in the UFC, most precise. And who knows, man, JDM could be a genuine problem for Islam Makhachev. If Islam Makhachev goes in there and has an off night, which I did believe he did against Dustin Poirier, I think that Islam could potentially lose, man. That's going to put Islam in a very interesting position. He vacated his strap, and then he goes up to welterweight and loses to JDM. Is he going to go back down to lightweight? Is he going to get chinned by Ilya after that? Is he going to stay at welterweight, maybe try to rack up a couple wins? It would definitely be interesting, man, but I don't know. I don't know who's going to win this fight. This is just an absolute mega fight that the UFC have announced today, though. So let's talk about the co-main event now. The co-main event of the night. It's a fight that I care about just as much, guys, and it's a women's fight. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that I would be talking to you guys about women's MMA in a video? Women's MMA is spicing up, brother. Women's MMA actually looks half decent now. We got Kayla Harrison versus Juliana Pena. Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. Probably going to take place sometime next year. That's going to be an absolute war. That's going to be a fun fight. And then in this one, we got Valentina Shevchenko, one of the greatest women's fighters of all time, taking on Zhang, one of the greatest women's fighters of all time. And Bedtime MMA talked about it a little bit. This fight has severe implications on the women's GOAT debate. Whoever wins this probably could be the GOAT of women's MMA. I agree with him, man. I do agree with him. I think girls like Amanda Nunes, if you say Amanda Nunes is a GOAT, she has like one good win against Chris Cyborg. Meanwhile, Valentina Shevchenko's done it against some of the best of all time. Zhang Wheli, literally unstoppable unless it's Rose Namajunas. So who knows, man? Who knows? These guys, I think I would favor Zhang Wheli in this matchup. That's just my first pick. My first pick is Zhang Wheli. I think Zhang Wheli, she's just a bit of an interesting one, isn't she, man? She's so good. Like, literally, in her last fight against Tatiana Suarez, she looked insane. The grappling was still there. She was able to stuff a lot of Tatiana Suarez's takedowns and just look unstoppable on the feet. And we've seen it throughout her whole career. She has been a relentless, unstoppable force. One of the greatest women's strawweights of all time. Probably the greatest women's strawweight of all time. Her only weakness, Rose Namajunas, very weird. Rose Namajunas isn't in the division anymore. We don't have to worry about Rose. Meanwhile, Valentina Shevchenko, although I respect her, although I think she is just one of the greatest flyweights of all time, she is the greatest flyweight of all time, probably. There is a lot to be said about her recent performances. Her recent performance against Manon Fiorot at UFC 315, she looked just meh. I mean, I don't want to be that guy, but she just did not look good against Manon Fiorot. She had a very close decision. I arguably thought she could have lost that fight. Call me crazy, but in that 5th round, Manon Fiorot she was kind of piecing Valentina Shevchenko up. And just even before that fight, Valentina Shevchenko, obviously we had the whole Alexa Grasso situation where it was just very interesting seeing Valentina Shevchenko struggle with Alexa Grasso, someone who's really just been untested. She lost to Grasso, then she drew to Grasso, and then she had to go through just a very boring performance at UFC Noche, just really laying on Alexa Grasso the entire fight, and it feels like she's just relying on her grappling more so. Her striking has looked insanely slow. She's doing the stupid stutter punches every 5 seconds now, and she looks weak. Shevchenko's game is fading right in front of us, right in front of our very eyes. Valentina Shevchenko has just become a plain meh MMA fighter, and I think Zhang Wheli takes this. I think Zhang Wheli is going to go in there and just going to be too technical for Shevchenko, and it's hard to outpoint Shevchenko, I understand that, but it's also hard to outpoint Zhang Wheli. Zhang Wheli also has power, dude. Zhang Wheli's knocking out girls like Joanna Jędrzejczyk, or however you say that girl's name. She has power. Who knows it's going to translate up to flyweight. I don't know why I'm talking about power in women's MMA, because both of these girls probably don't have much, but still, at the end of the day, I see Zhang Wheli taking the cake on this one. I think in a 5-round fight, she's going to be able to just piece up Valentina Shevchenko. I'm not making a lot out of the weight discrepancy here. I think Valentina Shevchenko, she's not a huge flyweight, but Zhang Wheli's a pretty big strawweight, and it's women's MMA at the end of the day, guys. Like, weight does not matter that much in women's MMA. I sound stupid here, but Amanda Nunes was able to do it in literally 3 divisions. Like, brother, what's going to stop Zhang Wheli, who's thick? She's thick. She's going to go up to strawweight, or sorry, she's going to go up to flyweight, and she's going to put a beating on Valentina Shevchenko. That is my early prediction, and we'll talk about the featured fight of UFC 322 now, because this card's looking stacked, man. This card's looking great. Carlos Prates taking on Leon Edwards. Let's get a round of applause going for Leon Edwards, because who would have thought that man would have took this fight? Who would have thought Leon Mumble-Mouth Edwards would actually have taken this fight? The kid's not ducking anymore. The kid's actually wanting to fight. And Carlos Prates, this is a very hard matchup for Leon Edwards. You know, we've seen Carlos Prates go out there and look like a world beater against Jeff Neal. Touched back on that a little bit before. Obviously, we know Leon Edwards is riding 2 very bad losses, 2 losses where the kid looked like he didn't know what he was doing. But those were against grapplers. CP, he's a striker. He doesn't really have much of a ground game, so at least Leon Edwards has some freedom there. But I think this is just an absolute great fight that the UFC had to make. Obviously, we thought we were going to get Carlos Prates at UFC Rio, but that got booked up pretty fast. We got Montel Jackson taking on Figgy in the co-main event, and then obviously in the main event we had Charles Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev. So UFC Rio got booked up too fast, but we gave the kid the next best thing. We gave him UFC 322, Madison Square Garden. How could you not want to fight there? What's the question? Yeah, how could you not want to fight in Madison Square Garden? But Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates, absolute insane fight. And who I think winning my early prediction, probably Carlos Prates, dude. Based on Leon Edwards' last 2 fights, I have 0 good things to say. Maybe his last 3 fights. The fight against Colby Covington, we saw him go against a washed, horrible Colby Covington. He got a very boring decision. Nothing happened. Altogether, Leon Edwards' whole career has just been a bunch of fraudulent wins. Leon Edwards is one of my least favorite fighters on the roster. I will never say anything good about Leon Edwards. My foot. Leon Edwards is a fraud. He's never been good, and I think CP is going to go in there. And if we see the same CP that we did see against Jeff Neal at UFC 319, well then, brother, it's over for Leon Edwards. It's absolutely over for Leon Edwards. If Carlos Prates goes in there and uses his leg kicks, uses his distance advantage, pops the jab, does a spinning elbow, he's going to ridicule, he's going to embarrass Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards has nothing coming. Leon Edwards does not know what's coming. Leon Edwards is going to go, he's going to try to pop a leg kick now, and then he's going to get caught. He's going to get caught with a head kick. Leon Edwards, headshot dead. Your only relevant moment in your career won you a title. You're a lucky bum, and I can't wait for CP to expose you for the fraud you are. Hopefully, we can see Leon Edwards retiring after this, because the kid was honestly never that good. Carlos Prates, this is going to be a brilliant win for you. When all said is done, when all is said and done, Carlos Prates is going to get this win. He's going to have a win over a former champion. He will be placed in the top 5 of the UFC welterweight rankings. And honestly, I'm not even going to count that loss to Ian Gary, man. Do we really count that loss to Ian Gary? Carlos Prates went in there against Ian Gary and just did not look like himself. I don't know why. I don't know if the kid's on drugs or what, but the kid went in there and just had a very lackluster, mediocre performance. And I'm picking him to beat Ian Gary in a rematch. I'm riding the CP hype train, man. After what he did to Jeff Neal, my hype, I'm I'm off the roof about this guy. CP, he's one of the best talents in the UFC as of right now. And yeah, man, that's gonna do it for today's video. Obviously, we had some other news. We had a couple other fights like Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern for the vacant strawweight strap. I'm not here to talk about that. We got Mario Batista versus Umar Nurmagomedov. Decent little fight booked for UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi. That's gonna be a fun little scrap, man. I'm excited to see who wins that. Hopefully, Umar Nurmagomedov wins because, like I said before, Mario Batista is a genuine terrorist of the sport. But you know, that's all we really have. Dana, you cooked, Baldy. You cooked, because the end of the year is looking like an absolute stacked, just fun mania we have towards the end of this year, and I'm just excited to see everything with the UFC, with the new Paramount deal, and it's a good time for UFC fans right now, to say the least, man. It's a good time for UFC fans. But like always, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a good night. MMA Outpost out.